You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
We're back. Kristi Tomey is our guest, Wilmington City Councilwoman. We're talking about issues relative to the city of Wilmington. And the region, really, another very controversial issue, talking about the region, is the Titan Cement Initiative to build the country's 4th largest cement plant in Castlehane. Now, that's not in the city, but certainly it's a regional issue. What is your stand on that?
Well, that went before the county, obviously, and it is a regional issue due to the fact that it's going to sit in such close proximity to us. I tell you that I believe that we need diverse industry in our city. As you can tell, you don't ever want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to be just a tech city or just a pharmaceutical city or something like that. You really need to make sure that you have good diversification.
Do you worry about environmental issues?
I do worry about environmental issues, but let me tell you is that, in today's times, we have some of the most stringent environmental regulations. This is not 1950 anymore, and we have taken aggressive steps in the United States to make sure that we have industries like that.
Why is our quality declining, our water quality and our air quality? Why is that declining if it's so stringent?
People. I mean, our population certainly is rising. If you are not personally responsible to make sure that you clean up after your pets, you don't put oil into the sewer system, that you don't do all of those types of...
It's
I don't think it's 100% industry. I think that you can't eliminate the human factor when you're talking about the environment on a whole. We all breathe this air. We all live on this dirt, and it's not just big industry's problem. I don't believe it's all of ours.
Let's talk about historic preservation. It's getting a lot of attention, a lot of destruction of historically significant structures. Cape Fear Community College, who made a trade with the city for the old Coastline Railroad building that used to house the WPD, Wilmington Police Department, wants to demolish the structure in favor of a new building. What's your take on that?
I think that we need to look at that issue in depth, actually. We are a historic city, and that is part of what makes us so unique on the coast. It is not in anyone's best interest to go demolishing historic valued properties. So I think that that's something that's going to be discussed an awful lot.
Wasn't there a meeting of the minds with the city that the building would be saved if it was traded?
I don't recall that, actually, and I don't know that I've actually been briefed on that, to tell you the truth.
Should the city put pressure on Cape Fear Community College to live up or to save that building?
Well, I think that we need to come to a consensus agreement on that, and then once that's done, then go forward with how to deal with Cape Fear Community College to be a good participant and citizen in our city, especially since they're downtown. I mean, that's very significant.
The Consolidated Cape Fear Water and Sewer Authority has not lived up to expectations. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
I don't know that I would say that's a fair assessment. I would say that thankfully we have not had any more sewer spills since that authority has been enacted. Has it been a perfect transition? Absolutely not. Have we all been upset that it hasn't been a perfect transition? Absolutely, on both sides, including them. They also are an entity or a party to the whole thing. So I think that we are in a much better place now, that we have the billing situation is completely under control, that the merging of the two actual billing systems is not really necessarily the problem. The devices that they used to go out and read the meters, once they took that data and tried to load it into the system, that's where the issue came in. But they've got all that smoothed out now. Everybody should be up to date on their bills. They should be going out periodically the way that they're supposed to go out now.
Any thoughts about the hefty $18,000 incentive pay for their CEO?
Oh, I didn't read about that yet.
No, this was a while back.
Oh, okay.
His board gave him an $18,000 incentive pay, which was part of his agreement that
contract.
he would get a certain percentage of when he was evaluated. Any thoughts on that?
Well, contracts are contracts, right? To some degree, I think once it's executed one time, though, contracts like any other contract, everything needs to be evaluated and reassessed. That was prior to all of this situation.
And in fairness to you, you're not on that board.
No, and I am not on that board.
And it's not really a city, it's a consolidated effort.
That's correct.
And so I know that. But let's get to the budget, city budget.
Okay.
You had a preliminary vote last week. It's about $81 million. Passed unanimously, but there was a lot of spending cuts.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yes.
First of all, how much different is it from the current spending figure that we're working under?
I don't have exactly how much reduction it has been.
It's a reduction.
I want to say it's 6.5 million, but again, don't quote me on the 0.5 part.
Is there any items that you strongly disagreed with?
Well, you know, I don't like it when we have to make headcount cuts. I mean, that really is a very tough thing. We actually have not done any furloughs. We don't have any layoffs or resource actions, as my company likes to call them. We did offer a early out retirement for folks who wanted to take that. That was all voluntary. And that, of course, helped significantly. But what that has done is we have a hiring freeze on. So those positions that are gone won't be filled unless they are absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary being for you know, health, safety, and protection of the citizens. Obviously, those positions, if there were any that volunteers that went out, will be backfilled. But it makes it very tough on the departments, right? Because, I mean, this is a large corporation that runs the city every day to make sure that the grass gets cut and that our parks are taken care of. And so you're going to see the weeds and the medians get a little taller because we don't have the personnel to send them out as often to do the cutting.
We're almost out of time. We have like 20 seconds. The city manager works for the council. You pleased with his performance?
I am. I think he's had a tough couple of years. I think he's going to have a tough couple more. He's done an excellent job. He's been here through the history of all of it, and I think that matters, absolutely. I think he's done a great job.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Come back.
I will.
Kristi Tomey, our guest this morning on Byline Wilmington. If you'd like to see Byline online, we have a whole inventory of shows. Just go to WILM-TV.com and click on Byline Wilmington. I'm Don Ansell, and we'll see you next week.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning at 11 as we explore the issues that concern you.